That Moshe Rabbeinu did the boils was like this, was that he took there was 4 miracles that happened when he threw up the boils. This was written by Rabbi Ephraim al HaTorah. He writes that Moshe Rabbeinu was able to hold 4 handfuls in one hand. Number 2, it was weightless. So when it's weightless, you'd think it doesn't go so high, right? Number 3, it spread over. Right now, it was weightless. Number 2, and despite the fact that it was weightless, he shot it up so high it reached extremely high to Shamayim, that something that much higher than an arrow even. And number 3, it spread to 400 parsot, some 1,100 miles, it was basically a miracle. And number 4 is that the suit turned into dust and raised boils on contact with Egyptian flesh. So Hashem made the boils happen in a way that when it went up, it shot up and it covered everything. That was the shechin. Now, survive that, please. Again, it was extremely painful that they had it besides eczema and scurvy and skin ulcers and inflammations and other skin diseases.
Horrible.
They had scratching. That the worst blister was called rasan, which, as Rashi writes this, it's a skin disease that's resulting from an infection in the brain. And it's a disease caused running eyes and nose and incessant drooling, loss of blood, and weakness that the afflicted person wasn't able to stand. Not only that, to make matters worse, to add insult to injury, there was hornets that would settle on the running source and then carry the disease to other Egyptians. So it wasn't a fun one.
I think that's the worst plague.
It wasn't really, yeah, you could pick,
I would get him out of here.
Maybe that's what you should do at the Seder night. You should ask the kids, which is your favorite plague? Which one would you want which blank of your enemies to suffer?
Which one would you have given up on?
Exactly.
That's the one I want to bomb.
Exactly. No, come on.
What? That's the one I want to buy.
Okay, then you have Barad. Barad, the hailstones. We know the hailstones had the miracle about the fire and the ice together. And the amazing thing about the hailstones is basically it bombarded all of the trees, all of the grains, and all the fruits. All of them were shorn to the ground totally. And obviously, this was devastating to also all the produce.
That is.
It was also devastating to the produce. Now, I
thought darkness was the worst.
So the Jews they were eating.
Darkness is horrible. Oh, darkness, freezing. It's a horrible plague. You'll see.
With a wasp sucking your
I never heard about the hornets until now.
It's very strong. Survives.
I think the hornets clinched it for me.
After all the fish,
they didn't have LED flashlights then.
After that, the blood and all the fish blood, the stench must have been a bad memory, right?
Yeah.
Then you had the lice. 4 feet of lice crawling, but
what was amazing? Was like this. When Paro asked Moshe Rabbeinu, he couldn't take the barad. It was extremely difficult. You remember one time there was hail over here that came the size of golf balls. So you can imagine like these massive bombardments just coming down and down.
But if you're inside a house, you're protected.
Yeah. No, but these were like actually literally bombs because there was fire in those hails. Right?
Yeah. No, there was. So until to a point. Now listen to this. No, you have to understand that all their produce got ruined. Trees and crops were destroyed, and although there was still wheat to be bought, the prices has risen to astronomical levels. Those who could afford it. We have to be very careful, because if there's some plague during Pesach, and I spoke about this on Shabbat, and the wheat is going to skyrocket, Goy is going to buy our chametz. The Goy is going to buy our. I'm telling you right now. You got to be prepared. No, it's $5. No, but we're going to evaluate. He has a total right. It's like buying it. What's the big deal?
To keep it.
He's going to. Well, we have to evaluate it. We'll sell it at a fair price. But if it's worth it for him, he's going to take us up.
Well, whatever, $400 I have.
Okay, so he'll pay you $400.
Quick cereal. I'll tell you. Once I take it.
Rabbi, what happens is if that overnight there's going to be some type of major chas v'shalom plague or something like that, it's going to sky. Your Nesquik is going to be worth $20. He's going to buy it for $4. Yeah. You okay with that?
I'm okay.
I just want you to make sure. I'm selling your chametz, Max. I want you to make sure that he's going to go in.
I have a bottle of.
And by the way, I changed the dates. I wrote the dates for you guys, okay? And Joe, tell Joe that he wrote the date the 30th of Nisan. I'm changing it to the 12th. If that's okay with him? No, just confirm.
It was the 30th of March.
Right, but it was a Nisan. So he's got just his was like that. I have to change it. I'm gonna initial it for. I mean, he's giving me the right to change his document. That's all.
Are you allowed to make him obligated to sell it back to you?
No.
Or no, you can't do that.
No, he has the right.
This guy can come into
But
my
he
house.
has to pay the whole amount.
Yeah.
He has to pay the whole
So he
amount.
can come into my house and take my chametz
That's
for
right.
$400.
Yes.
That's right.
So I should have said $1,000.
Like an
Wait, is it? No. If it's really going to come to that, the 400 is just the estimate. We're going to get professional evaluators.
Really?
Yeah.
Has that ever happened?
No.
I heard some guy lost his business
Yes.
once. Because
Rabbi
of that.
Zvin said that there was a story that
It was like a frozen yogurt.
I don't know
business.
somebody.
something
No,
No, I
happened.
swear, something happened. The guy lost his
Last
whole business.
2 years ago in LA, we couldn't find the goya to buy back the chametz, and nobody was able to touch the chametz in the middle of the night. She went to sleep. She forgot. Okay, she forgot to show up. No, that's what happened.
Too much to drink.
Sandy.
So where's this guy that you're going to sell it to? Make sure.
That's
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
You know his
It's
address and
Ronaldo.
phone number.
Oh, Ronaldo, you got Ronaldo too?
We got Ronaldo every
he's a-
year,
he's
the
my
guy.
friend, that
The
guy.
famous
He's
guy,
Best East in
Ronaldo.
the city.
Wake up.
Right, after
Free
you
now.
finish the makot, I have one question.
Okay, so listen. So the amazing
Filipino
thing,
guy that makes a
I gotta
challenge.
finish up, guys. The amazing thing by Makat Choshech was that as Makat Barad is that as soon as he prayed, now this is very interesting. The angel Gavriel and Bardael, who was in charge of Barad, held up the he suspended the hail in the air. I mean, we didn't see it; it was high up there until the time of Yehoshua. And by Yehoshua, there was another time where they actually used it. That Hashem said, "Okay, in the conquering Eretz Yisrael." Eventually, by Yehoshua was able to send over Gog and Magog and give them a makkah. That was the hail that was eventually suspended at the time. Okay, the next is Arbe, right? Arbe is locust. Locust, it's not like we think a couple of locusts that came.
Chocolate.
They came in a, they came in.
You never had them.
Like this.
He had it. He's a real Moroccan.
They were pan fried.
Pan fried
Chocolate, yeah.
in newspapers.
So, I mean, it was
Locust.
raw sand and
Actually,
salt and
kosher,
stuff.
it happens
It was good, huh? Like what? Like chicken?
What?
Tasted like chicken or what?
No, it had
My dad was
special,
telling me when he was a
flavor.
kid,
Never ever
in
tasted that
Morocco,
flavor ever again.
they used
You're
to actually
serious?
eat it. It's kosher
Maybe
food.
we could like chips
Used to
with
eat it,
locust
that's cheap.
flavor.
Going right now to
No?
Sonos to get one.
What is it?
My dad told me that
Considered
they
a
used to eat it.
Yeah, everyone used to. What are you talking about? What happened is that when they used to have a plate. Let me tell you the story. What
It's
happened
actually
in Morocco.
considered a bird, right?
No,
That's Kemas
it's a
defined now
special
the
in the
idea that
Torah. It's
doesn't
a
know
special section on its own.
What kind
Oh my
of...
God. It's not an insect. It's not a bird. It's in the middle. So what it is that they would take out the pans while the whole plate was happening, and they would like pop them in over there, take off the head, and take off the wings and everything.
No, you ate the whole thing.
Eat the whole thing.
My dad
With the
was
wings?
With the wings, with the everything.
Oh yeah, they told me that they took it off. Now the thing is that the Orachaim Hakadosh behind Benatar writes in his writes in his Perush writes in his Perush in Saleh that he was against the whole plague. He was against the whole plague of against eating locust. The only two countries that kept on eating locust was Taiman and Morocco. There's only two countries. Everyone else said we don't know the Masorah, we don't know the tradition. Only two places that kept on eating is Taiman and Morocco. And they would eat it. And the Orach Chaim HaKadosh was very against it. We're talking about the 1700s, okay. Very against it. And he wrote in his commentary on the Torah, right? This is his commentary on the Torah. He wrote, Baruch Hashem, ever since I spoke about it, no plague has ever come to Morocco about locusts. Rabbi Petahya Berdugo, one of the Chachamim of Meknes, who lived a short time afterwards, has a whole rebuttal against him, and he says, no, it's not true. This we do eat it, and this is the reason why we eat it. This is the reason why we eat it. And that he says that no plague came. I don't know what he's talking about. After he died, there was a plague that came back. We still have them, and we eat them, no problem.
The locusts are afraid to go to Morocco.
So that was no.
So no
And that was one of the-
locusts. They didn't start.
And that was one of the things that the Orach HaKadosh tried to institute, but he wasn't successful. And the Moroccans kept on eating their locusts. That was one of the three things that he tried to change, and it didn't work.
But apparently they were special locusts because they.
Yeah, they had the het on the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the het on the end. It said kasher if you go this way, right? If you put a het this way, it says kasher, right? Or it says. Okay,
Next.
so the arbe came, and the fact is that the miracle is that they could have benefited from this arbe. Hashem wiped them back into the sea and didn't let them have it. There was never another arbe like this in the history of the Jewish people.
Oh, so they didn't get a
Not only that, these locusts were unlike any before. They had teeth like iron. Their claws were sharp like those of a lion. Their horns were destructive like those of an ox. We're talking about over here the Midrash Gadol. Their wings were powerful like those of an eagle. Their shape resembled fish and snakes. Their saliva was poisonous, and the Egyptians, unfortunate enough to have locusts aligned their faces, died from the poison on their saliva. Their bodies received an armor inscribed over their hearts was the letter Het, a sign that the locusts were Hashem's Chayil, his army. This was who was writing this? The Sechel Tov. Wow.
Let's talk about the boils again.
I don't think it's the
Okay.
same locals that you guys ate in Morocco.
Yeah. Then you have the darkness. The darkness was
That's a big
of
one.
course
That's
it was a
that's
time
horrible. That's
where
horrible.
4/5 of the Jewish people died. Somebody asked the question like, how did they bury all those people who died?
Are they what?
I
They
still
just moved.
buried
They left everybody.
What do you mean 4/5 of the Jews died?
That's where
didn't
all the Rashaim died.
all of the people that didn't want to leave Egypt, which is unfortunately most of the Jewish people, stayed behind.
Most of the people that left Egypt, nobody
hold on a
went
second,
to
hold on a second.
Eretz
So
Yisrael.
4/5?
That's
died that
because
point.
God
So there were
made
12 million. There must have been 12
4
million
years.
Jews.
Yeah.
15
So
Yeah.
there were 15 million. So there are 3 million left.
Those were all the ones who
They
didn't
didn't-
want
They
to
didn't,
So there are
they
the people that went to
didn't,
the
they didn't believe in
population
God.
of
and
Egypt.
everything.
Without the Jews,
That's
the
because
non-Jews.
all of them, and also
It doesn't. It's not necessary. It could be that it was less because that's what he was afraid. He saw that they were multiplying, and remember, they had all their years of slavery. They would have 6 at one time, 8 at one time. They were multiplying. It could very well be that they were much more than the
most
Egyptians.
of the people that left
Now,
Egypt, all of them they died. Only the new generation they were born.
I don't know if it's their new
40 years.
generation, but it's those
Yeah,
who
it was a
were.
new generation.
It was those who were more loyal, and you can imagine
Yeah,
for
they
those who
were
were more
loyal.
loyal, they still sinned by the Erev Rav. I mean, by the Cheta Eged. Could you believe it? So by Makat Choshech was finally the after 3 days they couldn't even move anymore because it was so difficult, and then we get to Makat Bechorot. Makat Bechorot was the ultimate. It was the time where Hashem's presence was known, not only to the fact that there was a firstborn that we knew about, but the Egyptians were very promiscuous, and they would have children from many bichorot from many different ladies. All of those kids that all of a sudden, hey, you, I never suspected you, and they would keep on dying. So we're run out of time, but these are the 10 makot. Some of them you'll be able to say over by the seder table,
boils is the best
and
one.
make sure that you entertain your children. Try to remember some of it, and Ariel will post it on YouTube if you want to remember.
What is it
And
under?
Be'ezrat Hashem, this should be our last Pesach in Galut. It should be in Yerushalayim next year.
Amen. Question.
Yes.
That's to Obama.
Paro had till the end of Makat Bechorot had the power to send them or not. In what stage of the whole 10 Makot they got to the point that they had no power and they started negotiating with the Jews? There was still a slave status. I mean, the Egyptians still had an army. Why did they even come to negotiate? Why didn't you just go and take all the produce or all the cattle or all the water or whatever and just take over?
They were able to still. I don't know why it's so simple to you that they were able to do that. Who says they were able to do that?
Because Paro did the last Makkah, did not want to release them. So he had some sort of a power still over the whole situation.
Okay.
So why didn't he has that power through the rest of the Makot?
Because people are afraid. People say to Pharaoh, leave the
No, it's
Jews
not
to
the
go.
people. It's the
I don't
army.
understand.
Yeah.
When do you want them to start to start?
Like in the let's say after Makat with the cattle, with the animals,
Dever.
the devil. You said that they made money by buying from the Jews.
Yeah.
Why don't just go and take it away?
By force.
By force.
Why didn't Paro do that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why did they pay them?
I guess there was law and order still.
No way.
I said it was democracy. Like
All of a
Obama,
sudden,
right?
law and order.
Obama's
They
the
were
chief
killing the
Democrat.
babies and
So I guess
the
it was like
I
that.
know what you mean. With so much that had happened, you'd think they could just leave.
They could have they want.
Who would have the power to keep them?
Not just that.